You're listening to Headcanon Graps, and this is Off the Dome for Smackdown, September 27th. And we're just going to jump right into it with Randy Orton coming out. Randall, excited. I love seeing this man's energy. I love seeing where he's going, and even where you're weaving him throughout the episode tonight, where he's being the goodwill uncle, supporting Cody throughout things, trying to calm down Kevin, trying to calm down Cody later on in the main event at the end of the segment, and his energy with those kids at the beginning before he cut his promo. I'm loving Uncle Randall, and let's just keep it at that. I thought we were going in the direction of a heel turn with this man, but at this point I'd rather ride this out a little bit longer. Just let me enjoy good guy Randall, and maybe he'll eventually turn heel next year, but Kevin, there's a mountain of evidence, and there's enough that, hey, Kevin turning on Cody at this point is, the clock is ticking, because Kevin is a friend that is truly hurt. But I will say this, and it's to speak to that good guy nature that I'm so happy to love. This could all be a great misdirection in the end. And if you look at the thumbnail, you see Randy kind of looking off in the back, because after watching this episode, for me, I could see good guy Randy staying here, or I could see the whole misdirect of, yes, Kevin is so frustrated, but Randy is just taking it, he's just taking this all too easy and too well. Yeah. No, it's only a problem if you make it a problem. Well, what does that mean, Randy? How does Cody make it a problem for you, him tagging with Roman? I think it's already a problem. If it is going to be a problem for him, it's already a problem for him. But we'll see where it goes down the line. I'm curious to see, does Randy turn or does Kevin turn? And it's the ticking time bomb, and to me it's the biggest story on SmackDown, is which one of Cody's friends will turn on him. And I want to lean more towards KO, because man, you look in his face, you look in his eyes, and basically Randy comes out, he's questioning, why is Cody doing this? Cody comes out for the promo. Cody just basically says, hey, I'll be a fool, but I'd rather not be a coward. And I'm in this fight, I don't want to run from this fight when there's still one more battle to have. So Cody's trying to stick it out, forming an alliance with a former enemy that he's gone to war with, that in that war, Roman has made promises and kept to those promises. And so with Roman on Georgia Field making that promise of, I'm going to have your back, Cody feels, yeah, he's going to have my back for real. And Randy's like, all right, go ahead, do your thing. KO comes out. You can just look in KO's eyes. You can see his heart, the Heartbroke kid, man. You can see it just coming down the rampway. You can see it right before he speaks on the mic. And then, right before he could speak, he had to take it all solo. And the Bloodline come out to talk that heat and talk that smack. But during this promo, I don't think Solo's just talking to Cody. I think the first part of the promo, Solo's actually talking to KO, saying yo, you've tried to do this. You've been doing this for a long time. The longest of anybody. And look what you've gotten. And then look, you're doing it with them. And the last time you worked with them, you lost. Because at Money in the Bank, we were there live for it. Cody took the pin to Solo. So Solo's making a point of yo, KO, you running around with people. And think about that match. If we go back to Money in the Bank, KO had his mother in the hospital by the Bloodline. This man had to leave his mother's side to come help Cody, for Cody to lose that match. There might be some hurt feelings about that. There's a lot of other deeper reasons behind it as well, and I might make a video just about KO turning and all the reasons why and a good way for him to turn. But I think part of that was him speaking to Solo, and then you could see the switch when he starts to talk about Cody in the promo. And then he's trying to, Cody speaks up and he's like, well, KO first starts off, hey, we're going to have a tag team match because I'm done with your talking. I'm done with all this mess. You're talking about how we let Cody down in these scenarios and how everybody's letting each other down. Cool. We're going to have a tag team match tonight. And I'm going to shut you up about that. And then Cody steps up. Nah, we're going to have a 6-man. KO's like, nah, you got your match. You got your match at Bad Blood. So focus on that. We gonna have a tag team match because that's what I want tonight. And you can see the hurt feelings on Cody's face, but you can see KO setting his boundaries and just keep telling it like it is. Like, yo, like, step back. This is me. This is me and Randall. We got this. But that transitions us into the back with Nia. She's pissed as hell. And she grabs at Tiffany's throat. Choke slam position, or as Taz used to say back in the day, the doozle or the goozle, whatever you want to call it. One of my favorite calls back in the day. Like, he's goozled him. He's goozled him. But Nia got strapped and goozled. Pissed off, like, yo, where were you at? Why did I take a loss? Why did I lose that match last week? If this goes bad for me, if I lose this title, if you think that's bad, just wait and see what I do to you. And then she lets go, brushes Stratton's hair off to the side, like, hey, now we can be friends again. Now I'm good. I blew off my steam. Leaves, and Stratton, camera lingers on her. You can see this little look in her eye. I have been thinking this is going to be the story. And that leads us into this next match. You know what? We'll run into this next match, and then I'll tell you what I really think is going to break down to this. But Bayley comes on out for Bayley versus Naomi. Winner goes to face Nia Jax at Bad Blood. Boo. Just boo and hiss to Bayley's song. That shit has got to go. It is. I'm good with it. I'm way past that song. It's awful. I every week it just gets, I don't know, it's like nails on a chalkboard for me. I don't get excited. I don't want to. She said it at the Sami Zayn comedy show in Toronto, like, I can't dance to this song. And, like, for real, like, I can't get jiggy to this shit. I can't. What do you want me to do to this song? Like, please, just let's get something new in here. Something, folks. But we look back, and there's some parts of this match I'm watching with Naomi that, like, she almost seems nervous, and, like, maybe that plays into the story of her character and what her character is going through in these moments. But they start going back and forth. You can start to see them getting comfortable with each other, and match starts to get really good. The commercial breaks, which that's just a live television thing, and when it's not a pay-per-view, but man, commercial breaks tear a match apart. And yeah, you can have picture-in-picture and all that, but, like, picture-in-picture sucks, man. Like, I'm not trying to squint and see that. I'm good. Like, I just bring the match back when it gets back, but, like, it definitely breaks up the flow, and it doesn't have the same gusto. But by the end of it, we got a nice little combination of a Bayley with the belly, and then a nice big elbow drop to finish it, just in tandem. So not even going for the pin after the Bayley to belly. And me, as a fan, happy to see the Bayley to belly and the elbow over a rose plant, because Naomi taking that rose plant would have made me sick, because I just think that a new finisher, or a new main finisher, she wants to keep not using the Bayley to belly all the time, and a new theme song, please. Like, I know Naomi, I know Bayley feels that way. Hey, the Masters, the powers that be, let's get Bayley something new in the back. That being said, and my co-host, you know what? Big shout out to my co-host. I can't remember the song. It's a Green Day song, but I'm gonna bring it up on our next show so he could definitely shout that out. Bayley, we got a better song for Bayley already. We picked a better mainstream song for her. That should go crazy. So we'll talk about that later on. Definitely on the WrestleHook podcast. So tune into that for sure. But in the meantime, Bayley wins the match. She goes on to face Nia at Bad Blood for the WWE title. And I am under the impression the bigger story is Naomi here, but we've been playing that down the entire time. And I lean on a couple different things. You don't resign this woman. You don't have her come back to the company after the way she left. After the goodwill she built through her TNA run, Naomi that is. All the work she did through that. Her strong return at the Rumble, which I was there live for at the Rumble, seeing that in Florida. That was a fun and just exciting return for her back to the company. But since she's kind of flirted here and there with doing things, and then she's had the big three angle, which has given her some importance, but she hasn't really been highlighted too much in stories. And I'm looking for something more for Naomi, and I'm looking for something big. And on our August 20th episode, we brought up on the WrestleHook podcast, that's when Naomi and Blair Davenport had a match that night. And basically, Naomi lost. It was a rough match. And we were really kind of downtrodden about it, but then I thought about it and just really reflected on how the story was going at that point. And in my head, if you look back at the Queen of the Ring, Nia and Naomi, to me, had one of my favorite matches of Nia's throughout the whole tournament. So of all her matches, it's probably the Lyra match and the Naomi match for me that I really love the most out of them all. And it was hard hitting, a lot of good energy behind it, and to me, there was a little bit left on the table back at that match. And so, cool, she wins the Queen of the Ring. I could see this being a future title match down the line, maybe another loss. But the more and more I started to reflect on it, and then Tiffany and Nia started to form this friendship, and then Tiffany and Naomi have also had these struggles in the past as well. Thinking about that, this is how I think the story's going to go. Bayley has won this match. That's fine, because I think we want to keep building up Nia. I think Nia losing it now is a little bit too soon. But in a month or two more, I can see Nia losing this match. Maybe even at Saturday night's main event. Nia versus Naomi for the WWE title. Nia somehow gets beaten by Naomi. Naomi gets that baby face build up, maybe wins some more matches. Then she finally beats Nia. Gets to celebrate with that belt for a little bit. Boom. Behind, Stratton comes, cashes in on Naomi, beats her. And then Nia's looming over Stratton, protecting her, but looming over her, waiting for the opportunity to get her belt back, basically. And then I saw it originally going to WrestleMania and maybe being a triple threat for the women's world title, for the WWE title. But I now am starting to think after this episode, because that also kind of, in a sense, does Naomi dirty, because she just gets a moment reign, and then we have to hope that people stick with her on the ride to WrestleMania. But I'm really thinking that maybe we build this up for her to win the title at WrestleMania. You came in the company at a time where we couldn't interject you into the main title storylines last year, but we've built you up for a whole year. We've started you off here, and I think that Blair Davenport loss is really the jumping off point of her story, working her way back to the title, of being at ground zero and coming up from there. Yeah, she's lost now, but she's won a few matches prior to this. She's going to face Tiffany next week. That could probably be a dub for her. Tiffany could easily take that loss and be just fine. But Naomi can keep working her way towards the title picture. We'll see where it goes. I'm curious to see. And I think, and I'll even jump ahead to that backstage segment later on. Naomi's walking backstage. She's upset. Her and Bayley have an interaction. And, usually during those type of interactions where, like, oh, I'm good. I swear I'm good. And then the baby face runs off. The other baby face runs off. And then the lingering one, their face turns from a smile to a frown. Well, Naomi, cheerful, energetic, happy. Like, their interaction almost, like, re-energized her after. Her bumping into Bayley again, and Bayley be like, no hard feelings, and her be like, nah, you got it. I wanted it bad too, but you got it. Skipping past that, happy, and then, oh, here comes Stratton, and that upsets her. And so I'm like, okay, maybe we aren't teasing a heel turn, and maybe that's the longer term story that we're trying to build. And maybe that's what gave me hope for that long term, is that later on segment. Because where we ended earlier, I was like, I could see a heel turn coming if that's where we're going with this. So, but to jump back, we are now going into Andrade and LA Knight addressing their awkward handshake, and Andrade being like, yo, where I come from, we shake hands. And LA Knight couldn't even get a word out before he got jumped. And to me, Melo ain't no fool. This was a man thinking ahead that, hey, if I need a backup plan out here in this match, and things are running awry, me having somebody pissed off to add an extra wild element. Melo's somebody who seems to work good in a scramble, so having an extra element of somebody who could come after me, I could still win the match if he comes after me. But if he ends up messing it up with Andrade, because they got feelings too, yo, now I can take advantage of that. And so we get to the match. Andrade's up 3 to Melo's 2. We get a nice, good, exciting, just television match out of these two. This is probably going to be my favorite modern SmackDown era rivalry so far of the Triple H era on SmackDown. Like, I have loved this series that they've been doing. This is the first one we've had to have like some serious interference come into it, and so like that's been nice to have 5 clean matches of that between Andrade and Melo, just building those two characters, and you can see it in the reactions of Melo and in the reactions of these matches. People get up for these matches. People are not sitting on their hands. I love them at home. They're exciting at home. Even through the commercial breaks, they're fun at home. And like some of the spots they have, that they were flying off the top rope this match, and just that reversal into that from the top rope into that avalanche neck breaker. Just what a spot! What a crazy beautiful spot. And then after a spinning elbow and Melo rolls out, LA Knight, here this man comes down the ring, doing his little thing, pissed off, coming to interfere, starts getting involved. Melo's doing his thing as well, and the pieces are moving around. Andrade and LA Knight are now in the ring alone. And then like, oof, I'm messing up the flow. I'm thinking about the post-match already. So, flip it up and reverse it. So Melo slips in, gets a roll-up on Andrade, evens up the series 3-3. That now, to me, leads us to save that last 7th match. I don't think we get that until there's a title on the line, and I think we have a champion in that match. And so my prediction for this is, with that ending segment, Melo rolls out, gets his dub, LA Knight's frustrated, Andrade is beyond pissed, grabbing at LA Knight. LA Knight's like, yo, here's a hand. I'm trying to help. My bad. And so, but I think we're leading this into a triple threat for the U.S. title, where we can afford to either have LA Knight get pinned by Melo, so he moves out of it, and then we save that last pin between Andrade and Melo for a SmackDown U.S. title match later down the line, and also Melo getting his dub back over LA Knight that he lost to LA Knight months ago. So, it's something we could work out. I hope to see that. I would love to see that as a pay-per-view match, but most likely, unless we get that on Crown Jewel, we'll most likely get that on SmackDown, and probably the SmackDown before Crown Jewel at that. So, I'm excited to see where we go with it. What a fun time. What a fun match. We go backstage, and it's KO and Orton in the locker room, basically getting the game plan together, what they want to do for the match tonight. Cody comes in and wants to talk so badly. Like, come on, KO, I need to talk to you. KO's like, nah, I can't really do it, homie. We need to focus on this. Hey, come on, I need to talk to you tonight. Come on. KO gets up, he's pissed, like, yo, I'm not trying to talk right now. Randy's like, hey, yo. Randy's trying to reach up, like, grab him, like, hey, yo, take a breath. And then you literally got KO over, like, all right, look. Like, you got your match at Bad Blood. Just go focus on that. And you can tell by the way he keeps emphasizing yo match at Bad Blood. Like, that's your thing, dog. So just go do your thing. I'm going to go do my thing. And we'll call it square. Like, I'm trying not to be pissed at you, but I'm mad right now. And if you keep getting up in my face, I'm about to say something. So literally, stay out my face. Oh, also, tonight, stay out my match too. We don't need your help. We got this. Okay? Cool. Walks off the camera. Randy stands up and says, my back hurt. My neck hurt. I'm too old for this shit. If they come out there to jump us, you better have your ass out there to help us. I'm too old for this shit to be working alone. He and his feelings. I'm going to go talk to him. But you better help us if they come to get us. And then Randy goes, and Cody looks so frustrated. And I love that. So, like, I love that Uncle Randy's just playing mediator. But, like, my question is, yeah, he says he's going to go talk to him, but, like, what's he going to say? And that's where I could see Randy in the background possibly playing the real mastermind behind it. And KO, though, is super emotional. Maybe KO comes to reason by the end of this. And really, like KO says to Cody, you are different. And their friendship is just different. And so, maybe it can survive this. We'll see. We get an AJ teaser promo, which, man, talking about AJ Styles, that's my dog. That's my man's pots and pans. After Eddie Guerrero died, AJ Styles basically took my number one spot. Kurt Angle kind of did that for the WWE, but overall, it was AJ Styles. And once Kurt left and then went to TNA, I found AJ on YouTube. And then going and finding AJ off of YouTube, and then I was like, oh, what's this? I was a little dumb kid back then, so I couldn't figure out, like, what TNA was and where it was. But then Kurt left, and a little bit later, I was able then to find the channel just one night on cable, just scrolling, and I saw Kurt, and I saw the ring, and I was like, oh, this is where the AJ guy wrestles. Oh, snap. Oh, this is TNA. Oh, okay. Jumped on to TNA, and I say AJ's had this huge hiatus off of SmackDown, and I'm thinking like, oh, well, maybe he'll go to TNA. Maybe he'll have like a short little run over there in TNA since they have the NXT partnership. You would think WWE would like want to give them like a bone, like a bigger bone than what they've given them. And so like, and what bigger? It's not even like that. It's that big of a hassle to give you AJ. And I'm not trying to talk down on my dog AJ, but you give them AJ, he's a legend to them. That's basically giving them their John Cena back. And so have him wrestle over there. I would have even said like have AJ and Nick Nemeth wrestle for the TNA World Title, and I mean have AJ beat him for it. You can have Nick beat him back for it later down the line if you need to, but like have AJ beat him for it. Let AJ have a run with that TNA World Title. Have AJ come back with the TNA World Title back to SmackDown, basically saying, "Hey, I know I couldn't beat Cody, but I'm a world champion, and I've gone and got myself a world championship. Look at what I can do." It's not lessening the TNA World Title. It's just saying, hey, Cody was just the better man, and AJ could not beat him. but it helps build AJ back up instead of just having a break with AJ, and then AJ can lose it back to Nick. Nick can keep doing his thing over there, and then AJ can come back to SmackDown. I wish that's the way it went, but we'll see him next week on and we'll see where his story starts to go. I don't really know how this regime feels about him, and so like I sadly struggle sometimes with my favorite wrestlers getting really creative with their continuity and their stories, because I'm just like, I used to be a big Dolph fan, and like if you're a Dolph fan and you remember that Dolph run from the 2010s, well then you understand why I'm having a hard time trying to come up with something creative for AJ, because I came up with many things for Dolph and I got hurt every time. So we'll see what happens with AJ, but we go to Michin and Piper Niven, and turned into a cool match. Started off slow, ended up being trying to use the momentum and use Piper Niven's power against her to be able to beat her, which ended up turning up her using the cannonball outside into a trash can, dodging that, Piper going through that, and her rolling her in and then being able to hit her finish and beat her. I'm a Piper Niven fan, folks, and nothing against Michin. I like Michin, and I like the she's the Crash Holly of the women's division, and she's trying to build this energy up, but I'm getting the same vibes and energy from her that I get from the Unholy Union. And so like maybe we need to tell some different stories, or and with Michin, I'm giving Michin a little more time. The Unholy Union had like a title run and everything and still couldn't get some bigger reactions out of the crowds. And so I've seen Michin through a title match. I've seen her through some angles recently through SmackDown. I just want to see where we go with this. I don't know. I want to see her build and have some bigger reactions and grow as a character, but I love the talent that is Piper Niven, and it breaks my heart to see her where she is, and I would love to see her getting pushed harder and to see her just in a better role. And I mean, that's it. That's the brass tacks. I ain't got really nothing else for your ass. Like I just want to see her in a better push spot. That's it. Not the lead up to the Chelsea Green match, dumpster match. Like I'm good. So, but next week we got a 3-way ladder match between the Bloodline, DIY, and the Street Profits, and I can genuinely see the Street Profits, especially the way commentary built up. This is a big, important 8 days for the Bloodline. Well, Bloodline started off good on day 1 of the 8 days with the win in the main event. With the win in the main event tonight, folks, we are really doing it off the dome because, man, my lips is tongue-tied. And I don't know how my tongue is on my lips, but you get how I mean, you get what I mean, you get what I get. Anywho, I think the Street Profits win this match next week. I genuinely do. I don't think DIY, because DIY has already had a shot. They've had those belts. And to me, prior to you breaking up the Street Profits, I would love to see them with the belts one more time, especially with one of the modern belts and not those dime and penny belts that they've had back in the day. They had some cool belts in NXT, but they had them for a cup of coffee. So I want to see them hold those SmackDown titles one time before they end up breaking up Dawkins and Ford. So let's see that. And it's an easy way to get a clean, like to get them off the champs without having them actually lose it. And then you can actually have the Bloodline win it back in an official match instead of having this handoff of Fatu passing it to Tongaloa, and we can actually see a good, strong match out of the Bloodline GOD edition versus the Street Profits, and then the Street Profits drop it back to them. Like, I think that would be a fun, cool little feud for them to have, and the ladder match is a great way to kick that off. So, love to see that. Next was that Naomi sad segment that I talked about, and then that leads us to the main event where Randy in those table backdrops, man's going wild with him, going completely wild with him, and KO is just a great man to build up some heat with, and constantly getting the heat spots on him, and him trying to get to Randy getting tagged in, Randy blowing a house of fire down on the bloodline and doing his thing, KO coming, getting tagged back in by Randy, and him running around the ring and dropping sentons and frog splashes off the apron and just doing his thing in the match. Bloodline comes out as KO's about to get the win, start to distract. You're just waiting to see him come out, but then instead of just seeing him come out, because the Bloodline didn't play a song to come out, they just ran out on their own. Cody, and I'm a Cody fan, but like, homie, you didn't need to play your music to come out. You didn't. Cody's music hits, he runs down, plays protection, starts beating up the Bloodline, ends up getting thrown into the ring, into the ref. This happens when KO has a visual pin and has won the match on Solo. This then leads us to then KO getting beat up and pinned. Right after that, the Bloodline get the dub. KO is pissed. KO is pissed. Like, why? Cody comes up like, hey, are you good? Gets shoved off. KO's like, hey, yo, back up. Like, I pissed off, yelling. Randy tries to get in the way, tries to block it. KO shoves Randy. Randy turns around like, hey, yo, you ain't about to push me. I ain't no killer, but don't push me. Then you got Cody over here getting mad, them pushing each other back lightly. And then eventually we get back to a point where everybody talks down. KO pulls in Cody, gives Cody a hug, but KO's face, he ain't happy. He is not happy. He is trying to keep it together. He is trying to be a better man, but he is just not happy. And the bad blood is boiling between the two of them. And it's because there's some hurt feelings. There's some true hurt feelings from the Heartbroke kid, Kevin Owens. This man has had a genuine friendship with Cody, and he is now watching his genuine friend go dance with his mortal enemy. And that is eating his soul alive. And so we'll see what KO does, but I'm predicting an apron power bomb in Cody's future. I truly am. And I think it's going to be one of the most justified heel turns of KO's career, if he ever turns heel on Cody. To me, fully justified. And we can definitely talk more in the future about that. But let me know what you thought about this edition of Smackdown. Drop it in the comments below about, hey, do you think Bayley should have won that match? Should have Naomi won that match and gone to Bad Blood to face Nia? How do you feel about the Carmelo Andrade series? Because are you loving it as much as I am? What is your favorite SmackDown feud of the past? I mean, like Chavo and Ray, you can talk about that. That's definitely a classic one. Eddie and Ray, my dog, my man's Pots and Pans growing up, Eddie Guerrero was my favorite wrestler. So, like, as a SmackDown person and as a UPN kid with no cable, I was always on SmackDown. So, hey, drop your people down below. Tell me where you want to see this storyline going. Tell me how you think the tag team match with Roman and Cody versus Solo and Fatu is going to go. Do you think KO gets involved in that match? Do you think Randy gets involved in that match? Do you think we're looking at our 4 right now for War Games? Are we looking at KO, Randy, Roman, and Cody? Yeah, it's hard. It's going to be real hard to somehow talk KO on to the same team as Roman. But I think that leads to a storyline moment of KO turning on Cody at Survivor Series in Canada. Because for a lot of people, I think there's going to be some justified feelings of what Cody has done. I don't think we're turning Cody heel. I definitely don't think we're turning Cody heel. Cody's the biggest babyface. But I think we are good. I think we're in the era of giving characters depth. And we're looking at what they're doing with the New Day on Raw and trying to build depth between Xavier and Kofi and him and them being others on the Raw roster with other tag teams, and how they have a friendship with the LWO, but how that is now causing friction and just other different things across that. Like I'm curious to see where we're gonna go with these storylines, and so definitely just drop it below. Like, do you think is this the team for Survivor Series? Genuinely, do you think we're gonna go with Roman, with KO, Randy, and Cody against the regular Bloodline? Do we get another Bloodline member debut at Bad Blood? Tala Tonga, if you will. So, hey, drop it below. Let me know. Still trying to get to that subscriber goal of 15. So, hey, please help me get there. Hitting that subscribe button. Hit the bell notification. I'm definitely trying to build a habit and do these as often as I can. So, hop on board. Rock with the team. And, hey, I'll see you next time. Off the dome.